If I'm ever having a conversation with you and you begin to see my ears turn red, you might even be able to feel the heat that's coming off of them. You can know that something that you have said or something that I thought about has just pushed my button. I've just been triggered. There are some other signs of internal escalation for me. My jaws will clench. Jolynn says sometimes that she can hear my jaws clenching. Other times my eyes might drift off as I'm thinking about what was just said that was hurtful or harmful to me. It's really important then that I continue self-evaluation so that I can discover even earlier signs, maybe even new signs that I haven't even used before, since I'm getting older and am beginning to pick up on some things that I've never even done before in my life. Because the earlier that you engage the enemy, the more likely you are to win the battle for good. You get that? The earlier you engage the enemy, the more likely you are to win the battle for good. And Paul actually uses the word war to describe this internal battle between what I have decided in my head that I want to do, and that being good, and then my human nature that often acts in opposite and, in fact, harmful ways. Romans chapter 7 is where he does that. James, in James chapter 1, wrote about the evil desires of that human nature that meets temptation, it loses the battle, and ultimately behaves badly. And though forgiveness must be the ultimate solution for our sin problem, since we have chosen the mindset of self-control, continuing to act in hurtful ways is not the choice of the person who has decided that they want to walk in the ways of the Spirit. Even if you're not a Christian, you likely recognize this battle that goes on between the things you want to do and the things that you end up doing. And you want to win by ultimately doing what is helpful instead of what is harmful. Make no mistake, when your disagreements end with unloving or disrespectful behavior, then your evil desire has in fact collided with temptation, and sin is the result. When unwholesome words, in other words, words that aren't designed to build up and designed to edify, are spoken, sin is the result. And you are losing the battle and acting in the way that you've determined that you don't want to act. The effectiveness of your fight is proportional to your early detection that the fight is on. That's why this self-awareness is so critical. When I feel the lobes of my ears heating up, I recognize what is happening to me. I understand that I'm escalating toward hurtful reactions, and I step away for a few minutes to center myself, to make sure that my next steps are good steps. And for me, that involves prayer, and it involves intentional postural breathing. And when I've done that, I have fought the fight, and I have resisted the temptation that I've decided that I want to fight, so that I don't do things that I'm going to later regret. It feels good to win the war, doesn't it? And it's a whole lot better for your relationships. Early detection is vital. What are the signs you recognize in you that you are being triggered? And when you have identified them, think about some even more. See if you can figure out, like I do, what's happening earlier, what's happening new that you might be able to identify. When you name your reactions, then determine that you are going to recognize when they are there, remove yourself from the triggers where you sense them happening, and do whatever you do in order to center yourself so that you can re-engage in helpful ways. When has early detection of the battle helped you to win the war inside yourself?